Norway has stunning mountaintops, beautiful glaciers, and also vast landscapes. I've always thought Norway was a very beautiful and interesting place. That's why I decided to do a bit of research about it, and I'm about to tell you a little bit about what it's like to actually go there. You see, firstly, I'm going to tell you some of the small fun facts of Norway. Secondly, I'm going to tell you some of the different cultural aspects of Norway. And third and finally, I'm going to tell you some of the communication differences you might find in Norway. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, Norway is a land full of a bunch of different people. You see, according to the Culture Grants 2021 ProQuest Online Edition, section on Norway, subsection, the infographic, the average person, you find out that around 85% of Norwegians are native Norwegian. And one of the most spoken languages in Norway is Norwegian, which isn't much of a shock. But also, according to the Worldwide Encyclopedia of the Nations, section Norway, subsection ethnic groups, we find out that the remaining 15% is made up of Sami and also smaller European nations that have migrated into Europe, which I find kind of cool. Another thing to note is that in Norway, the overwhelming population believes in evangelical Lutheran church, but also something that I find cool is that they have the Norwegian Humanist Association, which recognizes some of the smaller religions and also people that don't believe in a higher power at all. And another cool thing about Norway is in the capital city of Oslo, it can get as cool as 41 degrees in January and as hot as 82 degrees in July, which that's very interesting because that's not much different than one of the places here in the States. Another cool fact is that you can actually see the aurora borealis at times in Norway because there are times where the sun never sets and never rises. And also, Norway has a very powerful government. They have a constitutional monarchy, and they also feature one of the lowest political corruption levels in the entire world, which is a very fascinating fact, at least in my opinion. And so, now we move on to some of the cultural aspects of Norway, which are also very interesting. We see Norwegians do love the theater. They love to go to see the Norwegian opera, the Norwegian ballet, and also some of the mini orchestras there are there. Another cool fact, or at least also in my opinion, is that Norwegians love old folk stuff. They have entire folk festivals featuring music and dances. One of the most famous folk dances in Norway is the Hallingdon, which is very famous over there. They also have loads of folk stories, which feature interesting things like gnomes and trolls. Another thing you should know about Norway is that they have amazing architecture. Some of the highlights are their giant Viking ships that resemble old Nordic vessels, and they also have giant rock carvings of old stories and things like that. Dining in Norway is also very interesting, at least in my opinion, of course, because dining in Norway, it is rude if you leave your hands under the table while you're eating, and it is also rude to leave food on your plate. So you have to watch out for that because you don't want to accidentally insult the chef while you're eating. So, I've talked about dining, culture, all that. So now I move on to communication, which is also very fascinating. You see, Norway is a low power place. According to the Hofstad Insights section, Norway, subsection, country comparison, you learn about all of this. See, Norway has low power, which means that they have equal power distribution between the low power people or the lower people in a company or city and the high power people in the company or city. Another fact about Norway is that Norway is a majority feminist country, which means that Norway values caring and supporting other people than they do fighting and beating people to be the top, which is more like what it is in the States. Now, I've told you about the communication, but now we go into the family structure. See, the family structure in Norway is much like ours. It consists of around 2 parents and then their 2 children. Norwegians don't really keep extended family with them. They are said to live close close by and around the same city, but most Norwegians don't have the extended family living with them. So, I hope you found that very interesting as much as I did. So, firstly, I told you some of the small fun facts about Norway. Secondly, I told you a little bit about the culture of Norway. And third and finally, I told you about the family and communication differences in Norway. So now I hope that you find Norway as interesting as I do. Thank you and good night.